AEW All In London was a historic event that will go down as one of the most successful wrestling events ever. I decided to watch the pay-per-view, and it honestly exceeded my expectations. Props to AEW for making such a wonderful event. And you know, with all the great matches and moments, there's one thing that you guys probably didn't pick up on. Billy Gunn, with one of the most beautiful, meaningful, emotional, wise lines of professional wrestling. Sometimes it's needed to be said. I know, guys, I'm not really watching AEW weekly. I rarely tune into pay-per-views, but this was a historic event. I believe this could be the biggest wrestling attendance we ever got. It's wrestling, not sure how legit this is, but whatever the case may be, just take a look at this. It's not a WWE event, so I'm just absolutely shocked. So I'm very happy for AEW's success. I think everyone did a great job. And like I've said, I'm not really watching AEW weekly. There's just way too much wrestling for me to take in. But this was an event you just had to watch. History was made. And you know, my taste in wrestling is a little different than what AEW has to offer sometimes. Sometimes you're watching a match and you're like, okay, this is Dave Meltzer's wet dream. I was absolutely shocked how many false finishes we got in pretty much every single match. And it's crazy how your mind can be changed in the middle of the match. I thought this was really goofy. MJF's facial expressions, throwing a chair to each other way too many times. So I was like, maybe they are overdoing it, but you know what? It worked. And I popped. So, at the end of the day, maybe it's all that matters. The atmosphere was just beautiful. We didn't get a special stage or anything like that, but watching a non-WWE show in such a big stadium with so many people, that was just something. In the pre-show, MJF and Adam Cole won the Ring of Honor Tag Team Championships to make the main event even more special. And the first match of the actual pay-per-view was just amazing. One of the best CM Punk matches I've personally seen in AEW. It was Samoa Joe versus CM Punk, and it's crazy how divided the crowd is. Half the crowd loves CM Punk, half the crowd hates CM Punk. But watching these two veterans in the ring, not at, peak of their careers, and giving us such a great match, I think that was awesome. CM Punk mocking John Cena, Hulk Hogan. The match was for the real AEW World Championship, which is interesting in itself. And CM Punk won a match with a Pepsi plunge. I don't know if he did that move in AEW before. So this was a very good match. One of the matches of the night, in my opinion. CM Punk acknowledged some fans, and apparently he had a fight with Jack Perry backstage. From the reports I've seen, I don't think it was entirely CM Punk's fault. I gotta be honest, the second match of the night, which was a trios match, I think it was probably one of the most boring matches of the night. It was an AEW match, lots of action, jumps, flips, flops, and all of that BS. But maybe it's because I didn't watch AEW weekly, I don't know the story, so I didn't really care much about the match. I was surprised that Kenny Omega, Adam Page, and Kota Ibushi lost though. People finally got to see the dream match, the Young Bucks versus FTR. This was really good. You know, I've always had a bit of a problem with Young Bucks in the ring. There are many times where I've watched the Young Bucks and I'm like, this is the goofiest shit of pro wrestling I have ever seen. None of it makes sense. Why are you helping your opponents it just never made sense to me. We didn't get that much of it in this match though. Towards the end of the match, it seemed obvious that the Young Bucks are going to take the W, but surprisingly FTR won. They went for a handshake and the Young Bucks left. This is pretty interesting considering FTR are friends with CM Punk, so I'm not sure if there's real beef or none of it. The Stadium Stampede match was just something else. It was something else. So first of all, I really enjoyed it. That's the part of wrestling I don't get to see much in the WWE. I don't mind that these people are pros, and in my opinion, I could be wrong, just my opinion, the extreme stuff we see in wrestling is not as dangerous as the actual moves they perform weekly. You're going to get a lot of bruises, lose a lot of blood, you'll be left with scars, but I believe taking dangerous bumps is far more dangerous. So I really enjoyed the match for what it was. I think the pay-per-view needed something different, something extreme. I do gotta say, and I'm not even gonna, can I show this on YouTube? But Moxley, with the goddamn sticks out of his head, that's just uncomfortable to me. Honestly, I think that's the first time I've watched wrestling, modern wrestling, in like 5-6 years, and I'm like, okay, this is a bit much for me. This is a bit much. But don't get me wrong, I was having a blast during this match. I don't remember the last time we got something as crazy as this in a stadium. Also pretty creative finish when Orange Cassidy had glass sticking on his fist. So we got this Superman punch, and they won the match. This was pretty awesome. We saw the Fatal 4-Way Women's match, and Paige Saraya came with We Will Rock You, which is crazy. Tony Khan, you know, spending that money. Now, people didn't like the fact that Saraya won the Women's Championship, and I have mixed feelings too. I know sometimes she's a pretty, you know, interesting person. I don't watch that much, but from what I've heard, it's not a right booking decision. On the other hand though, UK, Paige, coming out of retirement, winning a championship. I mean, it is a beautiful story. Swerve and Christian versus Darby Allin and Sting had no right to be this good. Sting and Darby came out to Metallica, come on. He really does not care about money. I'm watching this match and I'm like, how can you take that for granted? Christian, Sting, some of the goats of pro wrestling still wrestling and giving you that performance, and that's something I thought about during the entirety of the show. Sting, Christian, Billy Gunn, Chris Jericho, CM Punk, Samoa Joe, so many talent that are just, you know, still wrestling, and it's like, I have to watch these pay-per-views. How can I not? And the match, again, had no right to be this good. All the bumps on the coffin by Darby were really, really scary. So sometimes I do wonder if it's worth to risk your body like that. But again, I'm not a professional. I don't know. I mean, when it comes to entertainment, sure, this match was great. Sting still doing bumps. Christian, it feels like, never left wrestling. And on top of that, a great finish. Sting and Darby Allin won the match. Man, over 80,000 people singing Judas. People saying that this was a bad performance don't really understand that when you're performing in a stadium, sound kinda comes back to you late, so it's really, really hard, especially when you have 80,000 people singing along. And Chris Jericho was walking to the ring, so I think this was a decent performance. Just the moment, you know, Jericho, at this point a pro wrestling legend, coming out with his rock band singing in front of 80,000 people, everybody knows the words. This was a historic event, man. How can you not love this shit? He faced Will Ospreay in, I believe this could be the match of the night. I gotta be honest, man, I really, really enjoyed this one. I don't know why Chris Jericho gets so much hate. It's not like he can barely move and is still in a top position in AEW. He's really, really valuable, and he still gives you great matches. Now, I understand Will Ospreay is young and he did most of the cool shit during the match, but if Jericho couldn't wrestle, he couldn't take it. And not to take any credit from Chris Jericho too. My man did some wild shit in this match as well. And I also really like the finish. Chris Jericho kinda realized he's not taking the W, so he flips him off, takes a couple of moves, and loses the match. But I guess the story they're trying to tell is that Chris Jericho doesn't know if he still has it. Trios Tag Team Championship was fun. I really loved the Bray Wyatt tribute. Again, watching Billy Gunn in the ring in such a great form, by the way. It was lovely, and you know, it goes to show you that there is a place for old-timers, legends, whatever you want to call them, in pro wrestling. I don't think it's that big of a deal, and people complain, I'm like, dude, it's not like they're going to wrestle for another 20 years, just enjoy it while you can. We literally got Billy Gunn in front of 80,000 people saying, suck my dick. Beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And they won the championships. And you know what? I'm all for it. MJF versus Adam Cole. Man, I'm not gonna talk about the entirety of the match. This was a very long match, and I gotta say, very entertaining. Like I've said at points, I was like, okay, maybe they're overdoing it. MJF with his facial expressions, it seemed like MJF is mocking someone and not actually, you know, feel this power of friendship for Adam Cole. But they played with our emotions, you know. I didn't even follow the story that much. I've seen some highlights, but I was like, okay, you don't turn on each other. I'm loving this friendship. I'm actually loving this friendship. There were times when MJF refused to do some crazy shit to Adam Cole, but Adam Cole didn't feel that way. He just wants that championship. The match ended in a draw, and I was like, there's no way Tony Khan is going to take such a big dump in London in front of 80,000 people. Adam Cole says 5 more minutes. MJF says not enough. So the match restarts, and while people pop, this was my least favorite spot of the match, when they started throwing the chair to each other back and forth way too many times with goofy expressions, and obviously a tribute to Eddie Guerrero, but in such a big match main event, I think we got a bit too much comedy in there, you know? And as I'm saying this, I still enjoyed it. You know, the match was just a roller coaster, one of the goofiest shits I've ever seen, yet so good. Roderick Strong tried to help Adam Cole a couple of times. Even Adam Cole didn't know how to feel about it. Then Strong gives him a championship and tells him to smash MJF in the head, because I'm your friend, but Adam Cole couldn't do it. And this eventually cost him the match. So MJF just retained the AEW World Championship in front of 80,000 people with all of his work, his talent, charisma. I'm so happy for these guys. But power of friendship wins. MJF says, don't worry, you're still great, these people love you, we still have these. Adam Cole just used the tag team championships like they mean shit. MJF says, you know what, take this, you were just using me. Strong is waiting for that smash as well, but Adam Cole couldn't do it. They hugged, and that was the pay-per-view. Power of friendship. And I believe a big part of it was real. They were just absolutely thrilled. Main eventing one of the biggest wrestling events ever. It wouldn't be a review if I didn't at least say something negative, but I gotta say, man, for the most part, I really loved what I've watched. So the entire show was absolutely beautiful, and now I wanna talk about the fans a little bit. I don't care if you're sucking on Vince McMahon's ballsack, Tony Khan's ballsack. I don't get that personally, you know? They're not paying you, people. They are not paying you. You can watch it all, you can pick a company that, you know, you prefer. I'm okay with that, I get it. But if you're a WWE fan and you're angry at another company being successful, I just don't understand that shit. It's an alternative, it's a good alternative. More wrestlers have jobs, competition is always healthy. I don't care whether you love AEW, feel indifferent, or hate AEW, this was a massive success. And I'm very happy that pro wrestling lately is just thriving, it's booming. I honestly believe, and I could be wrong, that TV ratings don't necessarily reflect everything, because we have the internet, millions of views across every platform. It's just different, and I think it's been a while since professional wrestling was that popular. It's kinda cool again. You're not embarrassed to say that I like wrestling. So major props to AEW. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. The Great One, peace, love, and hugs. It's been a pleasure.